Okay, so this is the code. I have two variables, A and B, with values 10 and 12. I want to see which one of the two is greater. I have a variable max to hold that. So let me properly declare all three of them. And now if A is greater than B, max is equals to A, otherwise max is equals to B, we will be condensing all 9 of these instructions in one instruction with the help of a conditional operator. And a conditional operator looks like a question mark and a colon. How does a conditional operator works? You have a condition, and then you put a question mark next to that condition. Now, usually when conditions are given, conditions are either true or false. If the condition is true, it picks the first value. If the condition is false, it picks the second value. That's basically how we write this operator. So question mark colon is an operator. The question mark is written after the condition, and the colon is written between the two values where one is true and the other one is false. So if I were to annotate this, so if the condition is true, this is the value. If condition is false, then this is the value. So it acts like an if condition. That if condition is true, it grabs this value. If condition is false, it grabs the other value. Is there everybody following that so far? Okay. Now let me clear this annotation and let me put some code right below this one. So the condition we have is A greater than B? That's the condition. If that condition is true, I want the value of A. If that condition is false, I want the value of B. That's exactly what we wrote up there. And whatever value is picked, I want that value to be stored in max. So if A is greater than B, then the value of A will be given to max. If B is greater than A, then the value of B will be given to max. So we were able to condense these 9 lines of code into this one line. But this only works for whatever condition you put here. And it only can have one instruction in each of the true or false statements. Everybody follow this? Okay, now let's put this to test. That's why I asked you to bring up your online editor. In your online editor, I want you to declare A equals to a value and B equals to a value and max equals to, if A is greater than B, question mark, A colon B. That's it. These 3 lines of code I want you to write and test to see if A is greater than B, then the value of A will be assigned to the max. If A is not greater than B, then the value of B will be assigned to the max. And this is a check on line number 8. So when you are looking at your output, when guys are done coding it, the output should be max is 12 because that's the greater of the two values. Now what we will do is we will condense this code further. We will take this expression, so copy this entire expression. Okay, this whole thing. And where we have a variable max, first of all, put parentheses there. Just open and close parentheses. So I have already copied this. First copy this. Put parentheses in place of max. And put this expression within the parentheses. Just like that. Then you can simply comment out line number 7. We don't need it. and run it again. You'll get the same output. So the idea is you can declare a variable, store a value in it, and use it, or you can use this operator directly within the output. Either way, it works. Next, we will take this to the next level where we will, let me comment out all of these lines. So comment out everything that we have written, and it's going to be a different piece of code that I'll be writing, but I'm using the same example. In this example, I will declare an integer variable called number of guests equals to 10. I have an integer variable called number of guests equals to 10. The decision that I have to make is the following. I want to display the plural guests, if the count of the guests is more than 1. If the count of the guest is only equals to 1 guest, then I want to display the singular guest. So typically, something like that would be achieved with the help of an if condition that you would see, okay, if guest is more than 1, then system.out.println guests. Otherwise, print out guest. But that's too much. That's too much code to write. We can even solve this problem with the help of a conditional operator. So in the output instruction, system.out.println, we invited number of guests So we invited number of guests, and now we will be picking however many number of guests we invited. Oops. If the number of guests, in fact, let me do this. Okay. So if the number of guests is more than 1, then I will display the word guests. Otherwise, I will display the word guest. So pay special attention to line 13. We invited. Number of guests is my variable. And then I want to display after that either the word guests or the word guest based on how many guests were invited. So this is one conditional operator check right here. Okay, is everybody done with this? Did you run it to make sure that you are getting that we invited 10 guests, the plural? Once you get the plural value, I want you to drop the number of guests to only 1 guest and run it again to make sure that this time it will tell you we invited 1 guest.